Good evening and welcome to another live edition of the Satchell POV.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo, 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 woo. We're working on the effects. We're gonna get some effects on the show. It's gonna
Right.
be bee bee. But
I don't know. We gonna start with this song.
good evening, good evening. We do want to welcome you to another edition. We would like to thank everybody, all our POV nation. We thank y'all
Come
for
on,
being out there
PM
for tuning in. Come on, the nation. We got the nation out there.
I'm
We
with
Yes.
it.
we definitely thank y'all for tuning in, whether you're watching us live or you're watching the replay. That all matters, and we
It
appreciate
all
that.
matters.
Thank you.
Of
All
course,
right.
I am your host, Jeff. We have our communications audio person, Sheila, wearing the white button down. Come on, looking all sexy.
Don't I
Come
know?
on.
Don't I
Yes,
know? Look at
yes,
how
you
I do.
do. You
Look how I
do.
do.
You married.
I
You got
mean,
a man.
let's talk about it off the camera. You know what I
Okay, we talk
mean?
about that on camera. All right. Let
Because
me do a little.
he a little tall, so you might want to, watch out.
Ooh.
And then we have our resident guest, Ronnie, over here. Say hello.
No,
Hello, hello.
you better do your residency.
Yeah. Can't call her a special guest because she's always up here. She's the resident guest for right now. We definitely appreciate her being up there. And so
Absolutely.
before we get started, we definitely want to get into the
Topic of
notification.
the night. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, so
Yes.
here we go. Let's get into it. Hey, hey, everybody. As I have already been introduced, my name is Sheila, and we want to thank you for watching. We also would love for you to hit that like button,
The like
that
button.
share button. And for all of the YouTube fam, we want you to hit that notifications button. We want you to subscribe. For those of y'all who are on Facebook, head on over to the Satchel POV page, subscribe. Therefore, you never miss anything
Yes.
pertaining to the Satchel POV. All right. So make sure you hit that like. Let's go ahead and invite some people into the room. And when you come into
Yeah.
the room, say hello. Let's go ahead and invite some people into the room, invite some family, some friends, co-workers, what have you. Y'all come on in. Let's get this conversation going.
All right. Well, we
Let's
thank you,
go.
Sheila. We thank you for that, Sheila. Like she said, hit the bell notification if you're on YouTube so that you can be alerted the next time we go live or we upload any content. Definitely hit the subscribe button. We are trying to get 1,000 followers. That's our goal for right
Yes,
now. It's a small
Yes.
goal. Y'all can help by just sharing and
absolutely.
liking. Definitely help us out. Our goal is 1,000. We need your help. Help us get there. But
Absolutely.
we want to get into the topic of tonight,
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
which is triggers and trauma.
Yes.
Yes.
This is, I don't know, this is a little heavy one for me. Like this is I think this is a very important topic for us to get into today
For sure.
because of it's a lot of people dealing with trauma, especially during the COVID season. A lot of traumas, a lot of people dealt with a lot of loss. And
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
but I think the first thing that I want to get out of the way is everything's not a trauma. So
yeah.
so
Every
let's start with that because there's a lot of people classifying everything as trauma, which
Mm-hmm.
is which is not. You just dealing with drama. See, there's a difference between trauma and drama. And so
So let's clarify that. So, what
go
would you
ahead.
say is trauma and what is drama? Give us a scenario. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
sure. Um, to me, trauma is anything that leaves a wound. Trauma takes time to heal. Drama is just emotions and
Mm,
feelings. So,
okay.
well, I'll say this: people go through traumatic experiences,
Mm-hmm.
which with a traumatic experience that deals with your mental and physical stress, and it takes time to recover from it. See,
Okay.
real trauma leaves a wound which needs recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have people who deal with drama or just hurt feelings, and that's consistent of a person's reactions to things or how they interpreted something. That's not trauma. You know, if somebody, if somebody hurt your feelings and or they broke up with you in a bad way, that's not trauma. Your feelings just got hurt.
I would say something traumatic is something that really like changes your whole character. So I would say trauma is an experience. When it's triggered, it changes your whole character.
I
Like
wouldn't
you're not yourself.
I wouldn't say that it changes your character, but it does put a pause in you. So like I'll give you an example. To me, something traumatic is someone who deals with abuse. So like if there was a male or a female, because women
Mhm.
be beating on men too.
Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna speak up for the men who get beat up on. But that happens. But it, what I'm saying,
That's true. It
it's
happens.
all right, fellas. So I'm aware. Uh, but no, when like somebody gets beat on.
Hmm.
So like one of the traumatic things, if they get beat on consistently, when
Yeah,
somebody approaches them or like say somebody raises their hand, they think they're about to get beat. So you'll see them, oh, they'll start jumping, they'll start twitching, or it puts them in it reverts them, that triggers them to revert back to when
To that
they
moment. Right.
correct. That's trauma. Like that's
but
dealing
when
with
you
that.
say that takes you out of yourself, though, you know.
It does. I get what you're saying. It will triggers a traumatic experience will trigger you to go back
I get what
to
you're
that
saying.
place. So um, definitely, I do believe that is something that will like. That's why you have to know what triggers you, and then you're not gonna. Okay, let me clarify this. You're not gonna know all your triggers. Some things
Right.
are just gonna trigger you, but it is good to talk to people about traumatic space, traumatic incidents
Yeah,
when you have somebody safe that you can talk to, somebody who can handle what you've been through.
absolutely.
You don't share your stuff with everybody.
Absolutely not.
So
So
go ahead.
would we say trauma shapes you?
Hmm.
It can if you let it. It would make you. I feel like it makes you better, or it can put you in a
Holding pattern.
yes, thank you, in a holding pattern.
Got you.
Okay.
Because I'll say this. Um, like I'll start it off.
All right, here we go.
All right. So like something traumatic for me was, we were, what I'm saying, we didn't always have so we got kicked out of a couple of places, what I'm saying, growing up. To me, that was traumatic. I know people are like, oh, there's yes, there's worse things, but because it happened so often, when it did happen, having your stuff out on the street and stuff like that, that caused me to be in a place of I don't want to go through that again. And so me and Sheila had a situation when we first got married where she was handling the bills. Now, granted, we were younger. We in our 20s. We're in our 20s. We
Mm-hmm.
were still learning some things, and I'm thinking she's paying all the bills, like fully. She was, what I'm saying, paying half and half and half and half. At that time, she was doing what she knew how to do. She was putting
Mm-hmm.
half on stuff, half on stuff. Well, I got a notice. We got a notice saying that, hey, this is about to get cut off. That triggered something in me to be like, I thought, hey, why am I getting a notice that something's about to get cut off, that we about to that our rent's not paid, that what I'm saying, that we
Mm-hmm.
about to, that triggered me to feel like I was that vulnerable kid and couldn't do nothing. And granted, what I'm saying, I was still maturing. It wasn't a good conversation.
Right.
uh
I don't even remember it. Like I
that's
don't.
good. We thank God for forgiveness. Uh so But I do remember like it was a bad encounter, and I was definitely out of pocket, but I didn't know. My thing is when we have these moments when we snap off when something triggers us, we have to challenge ourselves to figure out why did that bother me?
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Why did that trigger me? Let's get to the root of it of, hey, where did this stem from?
Go back a few layers.
Right.
And that's the only way we can get better is if we dig into our history,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of us we bring a lot of baggage, a lot of trauma into our relationships, and some things we bring knowing, and some things we don't know that we bring,
Right.
because I feel like we suppress stuff so much that we forget about it,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you suppress something so much, I feel like it becomes more like a landmine. So, you
Mhm.
know, we done buried it, and when somebody steps on it, it's this big explosion. We erupt on them, like, why would you do? How are they supposed to know if you never said nothing to them?
Right.
Right.
So I just feel like we definitely got to pinpoint our triggers. But
Yeah.
before we can pinpoint our triggers, we have to deal with traumatic traumatic experiences from our past.
Well,
So
I was
Ron, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that usually anything that's painful, we like to block it out. Like,
Definitely.
who wants to remember pain? I mean,
Right.
no one. It's like having a kid. Do you really, you don't. If I feel like if you did remember, you might not possibly have as many. But no, it's just like you block it out and you forget about it. And I think that's the same thing with traumatic experiences. Sometimes is that whether you are aware or not, you might just be blocking it out because you
Right.
can't tell somebody else about what's going on with you if you have yet to deal with you.
See, I want to change that example that you use, because yes, giving birth is something I don't know nothing about,
It's
but
scary. Like
but
not, and I'm not trying to say for those who are not moms yet, having a child is a blessing. It is beautiful. However, you just don't know how it's going to play out.
Right.
And that, like, I ain't gonna front. Like, that's, remember that time I was in the hospital. We were in the hospital with Janaya. She wasn't born yet. And they're looking at you and they're like, so, if we gotta make a decision, and you know what I'm saying, you gotta decide whether it's gonna be the wife or the child. You know what I'm saying? That to me, that was a scary moment. And
that was Soraya.
no, baby, that was Janaya.
Hmm.
Honey. Soraya had a tear. It was a tear in the sac.
Okay, you right. You got it. You
But
got it. All right.
with Janaya, and I was like, that was because it was right before we
You're
had
right.
her.
You're right.
That was like, seriously, that was, to me, that was scary. That was kind of traumatic because I was like,
Right.
I don't know that they're having this conversation with him. All I know is they're telling me to do something that I can't do. And I'm just like, at this moment, I am just like, I'm a little scared.
Right.
Because, you know, I was like, something ain't right. And y'all acting like, I ain't gonna make it. I said, I don't remember how old I was, but that don't matter. So anyway, go on ahead, babe.
No, no, I get what you're saying, because I'm thankful that everything worked out.
Me too.
But it could have. I think that speaking of that situation, it could have been a traumatic situation if I had to choose between
Yes.
my child or you. Uh, that's a tough. Saying that lingers. With people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we thankful that saying my daughter is here and you is here.
Oh,
You are here, huh?
she's here. We here.
Oh, she's
We,
here. That's a
we
whole
are
nother
here.
topic. That's another topic. That's raising kids. That's another topic. But I want to hear from y'all. Y'all a little quiet tonight.
They are.
All right. Anybody feels comfortable sharing something?
Something that was traumatic.
Yes, that you had to deal with or
Yeah.
still dealing with.
Um. Okay, I'll go. So for me, one of my traumas. No, no, no. I'm not even going to identify like that. One thing that I noticed about myself was my challenge was children.
Mm,
Like, if you ask me to watch your kids, like Jeff will tell you, I am literally like, how long? How many? Because I watched kids for the majority of my life. And I was like, nah. Like it would really just put me in a place, and people would think that I was being funny, but it literally would cause me to like kind of, it was almost like the walls was closing in, like it would just cause me to feel a certain way, you know and I would find myself in this place, and I'm just like, oh, this really sucks, because I don't want nobody to think that, I don't want to help out, or I have a problem with watching, my nieces or my nephews. It's just because I am the oldest,
Mm-hmm.
care for my brothers and my sisters. Honestly, at one point in life, it put me in a place where I didn't want to be with no children. I ain't want to be around no kids. Don't ask me about having no kid. Like, it really, I didn't realize it until an adult, but it really had me in a place where I was like, yo, am I capable of caring for kids? Should I should I have kids? Like, do I, what I'm saying? Like, what do I
Right.
do? You know what I'm saying? Especially like being married. We were married for like what? A month, I don't know, maybe 2 months, and then pop up and you're pregnant, and I'm happy to be pregnant, happy to have the baby, but then it just brought out a lot of stuff that I didn't know I hadn't dealt with, or stuff that really had an effect. I didn't know caring for my brothers and sisters all those years would have this kind of effect on me. I don't think that was my
Right.
intention, but being in a single parent home, it's like, what do you do when there's an age gap? You know what I'm saying? Because there's like 6 or more years between us. So, I'm like older, they're younger. And it's just like somebody got to do it because she got to go to work. And you got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, I just didn't know how to process it. A lot of times it left me feeling very angry, very upset, very frustrated. Um, Even now, like, it took me a long, long time to kind of let everything go. Because people, sometimes my siblings, they'll be like, well, you did this and you did that. And I was just like, what more are you expecting from a 15-year-old?
Right.
What are you expecting from a 14-year-old? Like, here I am, I'm in my 30s, and you're telling me about what I did. I'm like, you're a kid. I was a kid. What you want me to do? Especially at this point, so it made me so angry that it made me so distant from my family.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be around nobody. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was like, I ain't got nothing for y'all. All I wanted to do was be the kid that I was trying to be when I was the age of a kid. And I took that same mentality into being married and didn't even know it.
wow.
Because Jeff would be like, let's just hang out. He want to hang out at home. And I'm like, nope, I want to go out. And then, move into a new state, made some friends or whatever. I want to be with my girlfriends. Like, yes, I'm married. I love you. But I was like, I want to be, you know what I'm saying? I want to be free,
Right.
and
So,
yeah,
no, I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just going to ask. So, having to watch your siblings cause a traumatic
absolutely.
issue for you to, for one, not one. So it had a couple of things. So for one, it affected you with watching kids,
Yeah.
raising kids, and
Hmm.
also with being in the house and not going out.
Yeah. And when we had our kids, it was very hard for me to let them go and be with their aunts or with their uncles, because, like you guys, y'all be like, okay, we want the kids to come over. And I'd be like, nah, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like them going over there was me putting my burden on you. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that to y'all. These are our kids. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to take care of our kids, because in my mind, it was just like, I'm not going to do what she did. I'm not going to put my kids off on somebody else. They're my responsibility. They're our responsibility. And even for a little bit, I did that even in the house, because I didn't. I didn't ask Jeff to do a lot. Not that he couldn't. I just kind of went into my own independent space. Like I started acting like I was 15 again. And I
Wow.
didn't
Mm.
realize it or know it. But like, babe, you were there. You think about it.
Oh, I was there.
Because he's like, I want to hold a baby. No, I got it.
Mm.
And it's his baby. You know what I'm saying? But now we don't have that. Okay? I'll be like, go find your daddy. All right.
Right.
You got
Oh, why they gotta find me if I'm right here? Wait a minute.
it. Go to the other part of the house, okay? I'm not the only one. So, but that was something that I had to really address. But even now, it still kind of like puts me in a place when I see someone else doing it. Like when I see other parents putting that responsibility on their oldest child. I mean, Jeff will tell you, it's like it'll set me off. Like I have to separate myself. And like somebody one day asked me, they was like, "What's wrong with this?" I was like, "You really want to know?
Yeah.
Like, do you really want to know? Do you really want to think about the fact that you're putting your child in an adult space before it's even time for them to be an adult, making them
Right.
responsible for children that are not theirs, taking away things that they would like to do because you want them to cover your children?"
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that, but that's my viewpoint. And I don't do that with our kids. Granted, they like stair steps, but like our oldest kid, she don't have that responsibility. We are not like, you better, watch your brother and your sister. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no.
All right.
But anyway,
Well, guys, we're talking about triggers and trauma.
we
Uh,
are.
it's not. I know it can be a little heavy.
It can get a little
Uh,
heavy.
it can get a little heavy. But we
Yeah.
can. But this is a free space to talk. You can definitely chime in if you just want to listen and just watch. We understand that. But while you watching, still hit that like and that share button.
We
Okay,
appreciate that.
we definitely do. Is trauma. Nobody wants to deal with trauma, but the
Listen,
the way I look at trauma is this. I think about an emergency room. There's different levels of trauma.
Right.
yeah,
But my thing is, when you're really in a traumatic situation, to me, you're dealing with wounds.
for
And
sure.
my thing is, wounds take longer to heal from the inside.
Right.
And
But
most
that's the
wounds,
start, though.
it is. And so my thing is, we definitely have to dig inwardly to deal with these things. So we have to we have to search. We have to search. I definitely remember, like you were saying, Bay, um, having that disagreement, and I'm like, why is
Yeah.
he so strong on this? Just saying something a little lighter, which was the going out.
Yeah.
Um, my story was the opposite, and it was it's funny to me now how we never had this
We
conversation
never
before,
had it.
where she was stuck in the house growing up,
Mm-hmm.
where we were always outside, for multiple reasons. But we was outside, and we
Yeah.
just, I'm not saying we weren't cared for, but we had a freedom to roam the streets, and times were a little different. I feel like I'm making myself a little old, but times were a little different. I'm not saying I just roamed the streets by myself, but we rode together. Like, it was a group of us. We had a plan. We go outside. We had a plan. We going to
It
the
was a
park.
different time.
We going to the basketball court. Now, granted, the more I think about it, we ran all through Norfolk. Let me tell you, I done drove to some places. I was like, how in the world did we walk here when we was kids? We was.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But so with me, because I feel like I grew up earlier than I should
Mhm.
have, and I took on different responsibilities
I
of
think that's
paying.
a lot of us from like the 80s. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think we all did. I think we like was like doing a lot of stuff that we really shouldn't have. been doing?
Yeah,
Right.
because I was working at 14
Me
legally.
too.
You know what I'm saying?
Too.
And,
Burger King.
I was at the web center. I was at ODU Web Center washing them dishes, huh?
I
Oh, you
started
must
at
have.
16.
Okay. By then, I was really working. I was, I already had like 2 to 3 jobs. Like,
But started working at 16, joined the military at 17.
yeah, see, that's where now I was gonna join the military. Believe it or not, y'all, I
For
was
I don't
gonna
real?
see it.
do
I
it.
don't see it.
I was gonna do it out
What
of like
was you going to
desperate.
do in the
I
military?
don't know, but I was just like desperate because I was like, I was like homeless. Another conversation.
Okay.
And I was just like, man, I just saw that. I'm like, yeah, you go to the military, you come back with a little bit of coin, maybe a little car or something. So I
Right.
was like, let me just like do something because I was like, the street life is not fun.
Right.
Right.
Ain't nothing fun about not really being able to sleep or rest because you got to look over your shoulder. But
Rest. Yeah.
so yeah, I was gonna try that military thing though. I was gonna try it. I couldn't.
Well,
My measurement
I don't know what would have happened to you. I don't know, babe.
my
I'm just
measurements
saying.
wasn't right. I was a little too on the heavy side. And they said, you gotta lose a few pounds. I said, I'm trying. I walk everywhere. I ain't got no car. Like what?
You must have went at the wrong time because when they was really recruiting, let me tell
Yeah.
you that they put you in that fat camp. Yes, I said fat camp. That's what they call it, Ronnie. You know, they put you in that fat camp before you go to basic,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
and they will. Let me tell you something. They will put you on a strict food diet where you really just eat in the
I
bare minimum,
mean,
and
I was
you
like, what
are
you got to lose?
running and marching all day.
Yo, straight up, I was
They
like,
Don't
could have
ask
just
me
put
how.
you in
Ask me
basic
how
for
I know.
that.
what I got to lose? Like, I might as well just go. Like, I knew it was gonna be hard. I probably was gonna cry, but I was
Yes.
like, it's worth
I
a shot.
definitely cried a lot.
Don't let them
I
break
hear
you,
that
babe.
you cry. I hear that you cry. So I was like, it's gonna be okay.
I wasn't gonna let them see it. Let me tell you that. We that's military stories. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but I remember that. Like, I remember Jeff be like, "What you want to do?" I'm like, "I want to go out." Jeff be like, "I want to look at TV." I was like, "I've been looking at TV for 18 years. Who want to do that? I don't want
Right.
to do that anymore."
I just wanted to. I'm gonna tell you because I wanted to relax because from 14, like I'm talking about like having a real job, like not the
Yeah,
little side hustles we were
right.
doing. Like we was working. Like you know, we would do the night jobs with my mom, whether it was cleaning offices or cleaning the beach. We go to the Outer Banks and
It's
during the
working.
summertime, and we'd clean the beach houses. Or
Hmm.
we would at one time she was doing a little side gig doing the cleaning the HUD houses. Who those were bad. Those are yeah they were
I
trash.
never cleaned the HUD house, but I don't hear
You
great
don't
things.
want to do it. Um, no, they're disgusting. Like literally,
I
like
believe it.
So
they're
I got a
disgusting.
question.
Huh?
I got a question for y'all.
Go ahead.
Hmm.
When did you know that you have been traumatized?
After I was married, really.
I'm with you. I get it. How about you?
Um, mm, for real, I would say this marriage. Yeah.
So something about marriage really just like shows you. I know we back on that again, but I'm just saying.
No, no.
Right.
I say a good marriage. I'll say this. Let me rephrase that. A good marriage is not a good. A healthy marriage
Okay.
will show you.
Yeah.
And
Right.
my thing is the right person will help unlock you. The right person has the key to unlock the things that you have hidden,
Yeah.
Right.
and you need that. And I'll say this. I know Sheila jokes me all the time. I remember when we first started talking. And when I say like we're talking on the phone, and I'm just telling this girl my whole life story, and
Whole life
I
story.
don't even know why. And I remember saying that on while we were talking on the phone, like why I don't know why I'm telling you all of this. And she's like, I know, I just, I'm just me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Right.
there was a comfort level that I had
Yeah,
with her, even when we were just talking, that she was able to unlock things that I was holding in, and she was that ear that I needed to, so that I can start letting some of those layers go.
Mhm.
And then just talking to her, and then some of the stuff that she was just like, that's not normal. And sometimes we'll go through traumatic things not knowing that it's trauma, because we think that it's, what I'm saying, we think that it's normal.
yeah,
I was I was watching a show, and the dude was just this dude was talking to this young lady, and he was just explaining how he, saying, grew up rough, and his lights was off, and saying they were poor,
yeah,
and but he didn't know they were poor until he was around other kids, and he was just like, oh, that's not normal. And so being around my spouse was just like, no, a lot of the stuff, like some of the stuff, that's not cool, that's not normal. And then you start thinking like, dang, you're right. So exposure to
Mhm.
other things is like, to me,
even like,
here's the funny thing. Growing up, everybody, in my opinion, it seemed like everybody had single parent homes. Everybody had a
yeah.
mama and no daddy was in sight.
To be honest
Right.
with you, where I lived at, there were not a lot of the only men that you would see is those that's the ones that's trying to holler. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was really like marriage was like a thing that was like far
Years.
in between. Like what's marriage? Like what are you talking about? Like you saw it on TV, but I didn't really have too many people in the neighborhood. Like you didn't have like no married couple like that I knew of.
But
Except
that's what I'm saying, because that that was kind of, and I'm trying not to get into our topic next for the next episode, but it's just part of that was not having that reference of
yeah,
a two-parent home.
yeah,
Mhm.
And so that's, you kind of make it almost becomes the norm for you, like, oh, well, I'm going to get somebody, what I'm saying, like, having being married, like, what, why are you doing that?
yeah. I'll
Right.
check this out, right? So here's what I noticed. So how when I was speaking about how I was just simply trying to like relive or just like be that kid and have that quote unquote freedom.
Mhm.
I realized that actually was coming from my mom because that's what she was trying to do. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm not saying this in a negative way. I love my mother. I'm not saying anything was wrong. We was growing. We're growing and we're learning one another. She had me when she was very young. Um, and it's just it happens. But it took me being an adult to understand all those times when she was going out with her friends, all those times that she was going on a date. I'm like, she didn't have that during the typical time when you would have that. Because if you're 18, which I know, Ronnie, you can, help us with this. Like if you're 18 and you have a kid, that changes like everything.
Mhm.
So wherefore, a lot of the things that I was angry with her about, I realized that it was nothing to be angry about because she was trying to grow even though she had me. And I'm like, she did the best that she could. She did what she knew how. And I say that to say too to anybody who's watching, if that's your story or if you can relate, forgive your parent, whether it be, your mom or your dad or whatever the case may be, but just like forgive them because they was doing the best that they could do. And sometimes brokenness can just be passed down unintentionally.
Mhm.
And I don't think that was her intention. Like even look, she didn't that wasn't her intention, to pass those things down. But when you don't know different, you can't do different.
I totally agree. I was going to touch on that too because my biggest thing is I know a lot of people deal with, like you were saying, when you have especially a parental figure, um, that y'all have this
We grew up
confrontation,
together.
right? And there's people, and I was one of those people. I can admit it that I was just like, I don't want to be like this person. Here's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing I had to be corrected about. I can't help but to be like them because I have their DNA.
Yeah.
It's in your DNA. And my thing is whether you say it's, saying generational curses, for those other people say it's cycles. You can call it whatever you want. It's in your blood.
This is DNA.
Things will recycle
Yeah.
unless you break it. And
Mm-hmm.
my thing is the
Mm-hmm.
only way to break it is for one to address it and to make a different decision than what everybody else had.
And that'll
And
Right.
make
so my thing is we don't talk. And here's the biggest thing, and that's another reason for us being on the POV. We have to talk about things.
you
We're
gotta
gonna
talk
have
about
You gotta have the uncomfortable conversations.
you do.
Because
Absolutely.
my thing is, you feel like, oh well, just me and I'm just gonna say me and my dad don't get along. I'm just gonna use that as an example. But my thing is, have I ever asked my dad, did him and his father get along?
Right.
Or go back even further to see how long has this thing been going on?
Yeah.
What has been the issue that this keeps recycling itself and we're allowing it because we're repeating what happened to us. And
Yeah.
so many times we try so hard not to be like somebody that
Mm-hmm.
we become exactly what we're trying not to be.
Yep.
Instead of trying to just be something different, or instead of trying to do something different. But I think sometimes you just get caught up in the anger,
That is good.
because you just be like, why is this my life? You know what I'm saying? I remember at one point, it was just really dark, and it was just a thing of, you know, why is this, why is this my mother? You know, maybe if I had a mother and a father, life would be different. My life would be better, and things. I say you begin to think of all these things because you just get so upset with what you've been given, not even
Right.
understanding that you're not your circumstances, but you don't know no better.
Right.
You're a kid, and so sometimes like that emotion and that anger and that frustration, like that thing will block you and it'll have you messed up. So I'm saying that to say, like, number one, you just got to be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes things get a little ugly before they get pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta face it. Generational curses are real. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be on my job
No,
and
no, no,
shit.
you're good. Cause no, I like what me and my crazy world stated, which is the sins of the father passed down to the
But
sons,
that's
and that
real. And then we had to face the things that we have dealt with so that we don't pass that to our kids.
Right.
And that's the one thing I didn't do either. And that's another reason why it's like you gotta forgive, because I tell my kids all the time, you got the best grandma. When I say my mom is the best grandma ever,
awesome,
we want to thank
awesome.
you for everything. Like, I'm serious. Like, she's the best grandma ever. I won't take that away from her. But if I was still in that unhealed place, who knows what that would look like? I
Right.
might end up blocking my children from the blessings that God had already set up for them because I'm in a place that I don't want to come out of.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm moving on.
No, I'm with you. I feel like here's the thing, because we've been in this, especially in our black and brown culture, we don't we don't talk to our kids. Because
Right.
if we actually go back, you know what I'm saying, we used to tell, there was always stories. Everybody would tell stories of their great grandfather, their great great grandfather, and the
Right.
thing, we knew our history. My thing is we don't even know what mama and daddy did because they won't say nothing, and we try to keep everything so private
Mm-hmm.
that we don't. Hey, let me expose myself. Let me show. Hey, this is what I dealt with after I conquered it, so that you don't have to deal with the same hurdle. We're letting our kids start back off at ground zero when
Right.
we should when they should be at least starting off where we left off at.
Right.
Each generation should be getting better and better. But because we want it, we're doing the best, doing our best, doing our best, and then it's just like, all right, I'm gonna keep everything to myself, and it goes to the grave, and then my kids start back over at zero, and then they're going up the same hill with no instructions,
Yep.
and like no, like, and they're dealing with the same things. Why do you have to deal with the same things that I had to deal with? If I would, for one, conquer some of my demons or
Mm-hmm.
issues or hurdles, and
However you
then
want to say
let
it.
you know so you can skip around it.
Right. But that's going to cause you to be vulnerable. And a lot of times, if you're someone who deal with pride, because pride will keep you from all of that,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you be like, I'm not doing that. I'm not sharing that. I'm not putting myself out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's like it's other people that are at stake. Like we have to know that everything we do don't just affect us; it affects others too
Mm-hmm.
around us. And for real, when you go through some traumatic experiences and you don't deal with it, and then next thing you know, you bitter or you know, as they like to say nowadays, you know, your energy is bad. You know, people pick up on that, and then you might be wondering why you ain't got no friends. It's because you got that all that negative stuff inside of you, and when you go in the presence of others, they pick up on that, and don't nobody want to come into connection with that. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you have to deal with those experiences. Man, I remember one day Jeff told me something. I mean, that thing hurt me sometimes. I mean, that thing hurt my feelings terrible. Now I know that was not the goal. That's not why he did it. But he was just like, and I'm just gonna like this is real transparent. If my family happens to watch this after the fact, I want to say that I love everybody. I really truly do. So I was like, my thing was I always wanted my family to see me. I wanted them to know me. You know, even like right now, like I do a lot of different things and I have a lot of like gifts and talents. And a lot of times I feel like with my family, they don't see me, they don't know me. All they know is Creature from 95. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not her anymore. And so I'll be like, Jeff, I just want them to just like see the growth, see the change, and like, hey, I'm different now. You know what I'm saying? Give me
Right.
a chance. You know what I mean? And he was like, babe, everybody's not gonna see you. And I know you may want this one and that one to love on you, but the love is gonna come, but it might not be from them. And I mean that thing, it just stung, you know what I'm saying? Because you want love from your family, right?
Yeah.
I had to understand that I receive a lot of love, don't get me wrong, but it's not always from someone that shares the same DNA as I or like a blood relative. Like I just have people in my life that love on me, but at one point, like I'll have moments where I'll be like, man, babe, I'm like, they don't call me. I want to be,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want to be in the chat or whatever. But yeah, so because I had to get that together because at one point I was thinking something was wrong with me, and it's not. It's just not the way it's supposed to be set up. So
well,
sometimes you gotta take that hard truth, that hard pill.
I'll say this, and is here's the thing. I'll use the Bible real quick. It said even Jesus could do little miracles in his hometown, and it wasn't that he didn't have the same power that he had. It was because people was too familiar with him. You know, sometimes our family are is too familiar with us because they remember us when we was Boo Boo and Junebug and whoever.
Mm-hmm.
And but my thing is they never grew with us. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
To them, we're always that 5 year old, that 8 year old, or that person who did that.
Right.
They never see, hey, yes, that was me. I'm not that person no more. And
Right.
Right.
they would try to handcuff you to a experience or into your
Hmm.
youth and not allow you to mature and to grow into the person that you are.
Yeah.
And so you can't fault them, but
Right.
you don't have to accept all of that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
That too. Because
Like I'm not that person. Like I get you.
yeah,
It's like that friend that always you had that childhood friend, and they be like they always talk about, hey man, remember when we was in 1990? But and that's
right.
cool. It's cool to reminisce. But that's
Right.
all you talk about every time we get together. We talk about the same thing.
The same thing.
We got to get past that, bro.
Right.
And then it's like when you try to introduce them to the new things, it's almost like they don't want that. Like they just want what they know. But yeah, so I think self awareness is a big deal too when it comes to like traumas and triggers. You just got to have that self awareness about yourself.
Right.
Once again, you really got to take a hard look at yourself. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we got some things about us that are not pretty, as they say, but you got to deal with it.
And some things you're not gonna know, and that's what relationship is for, and that's any relationship, friend or
Whole
not relationship,
relationship brings it out.
all relationship. I'm gonna tell you, there's I'll give you an example, something light. I'm gonna tell you something that irritates me. My wife is a cabinet opener. Like she will open a cabinet and leave it open.
What are you talking
I
about?
no, 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 you do it. You don't even. That's what I'm saying. You don't even notice that you do that
I'm
because I'm
coming back
always
to it. I'm
no,
coming back.
no. You don't come back to it. I promise you. But, but my thing is, I didn't know how much that irritated me until I experienced. Like, so certain things you're not gonna know until you're in that situation.
Right.
But you have to give people grace,
Mhm.
and you have to have self control yourself,
Yeah.
because how did they how am I supposed to expect her to know? Hey, you would think, because we use it's common sense, and we all know sense ain't common. So,
Listen.
so we have to. It's different once we had a conversation. Like if once I talked to her, hey babe, you notice you leave the cabinets open like a lot. Now it's hey, you're aware. Now granted, I know she's not going to close the cabinet every time.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try,
She
y'all.
I
So
know
I'm
she's gonna I know she's gonna try though. Now
gonna
granted,
Right.
is it still gonna irritate me a little bit? Yes. I know, I know, I know, I
I'm gonna
know.
try. You know,
But
but I am an organizer. Hello, somebody. I'm an
which
organizer.
is that's the thing that blows my mind, because you are a clean freak, but you will leave cabinet doors open. But
What?
It's just like she just can't believe herself. What?
I'll
so
just. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try harder.
oh no, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'm used to it now. So and that's the other thing. Some things we just gotta let go, because some things people just can't help. It's a difference. Like I know spending time with her, she unawarely does it,
Yeah.
and so now I just have to have the control to be like, all right,
But you
you know,
said
that I'm just gonna close it. I'm not even gonna address it anymore because it's already been addressed. Because
that's
sometimes we'll beat a dead horse, and that will cause
Mhm.
issue. When we keep bringing something up and keep bringing something up.
but you said something though.
Go ahead.
You said something that was I think is great, and that is that trauma does not give you permission to be rude and nasty.
Right.
Correct.
So I think that's something that people may want to consider. Yes,
I,
you had an experience. Yes, it puts you, it happened and it wasn't good, it wasn't pretty, and it causes you to feel a certain type of way. But at some point, it's like your triggers. At some point, your triggers. And if you know that something has triggered you, have enough maturity, you guys, to walk away, because that other person probably don't even know what's happening right now. And then there you
Mhm.
go, treating them a certain type of way or acting out. And they are just like, what the heck? Wait until you cool down and calm down and then go explain to the person, when you said this, it reminded me of that. You never did this to me, but this is what happened in my life.
You gotta have
So,
competition. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I've been kind of quiet because I've been trying to figure out how I wanted to put this out there.
Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. I knew you had
So,
something heavy.
it's probably gonna end a little heavy, but I don't have a problem talking about it because I feel like it does help people, and a lot of us have dealt with the situation. But I'm gonna tie it all together with some. Well, I know in our relation, in our marriage, two separate traumas, his trauma and my trauma, actually have us reacting the same way when it comes to our children and children in general.
Okay.
So without getting into detail about Jamal's trauma, it his ties into abandonment.
Okay.
And if anybody knows him, he is not sending his children anywhere. He is hesitant. If any of these kids come to stay with y'all, y'all are lucky.
I'm me. I'm still,
Because he does not let go of children.
I
But
can't
he
get
was like, he just always wanted to make sure, like same thing like you said, Sheila, like these my kids, I'm responsible for them.
Uh-huh.
So that's just where it's at.
Right.
So on a heavier note, but like I said, I don't have an issue talking about it. The same way that he's protective over our kids and other people's children is because from the age of 12 to 15, I was molested in my own home by a man that had married my grandmother. So most of us know kids or have kids that 12, range or between the 12 and 15. So you can only imagine what was just transpiring in your mind, and then not having anyone in the home that you could talk to or felt like you could talk to. I think the first time I ever talked about it was a teen night in church. And ever since then, I always talked about it because you get a response. Well, then I was surprised at the response, but now that I'm older, I realize a lot of women in that age range dealt with that. And then we bring that into our relationship or relationships, period. But it does cause a trust issues. And I didn't realize it was a trauma until I started having kids. And then the world kind of changed because that's all you started hearing was children being molested. Um, you just started, it was just a lot of that going on. And when I started having my own kids, I was like, for that to have, geez,
That's all
You're
right.
right.
happen
You're all right.
inside of your own
Your
home,
safe place. Yeah.
it don't, like, how do you trust anything outside of that?
Yeah.
And let alone you trust anybody with your children, because that could happen even at 12, 13, 14, 15. I didn't even know how to tell somebody.
Yeah.
So I would never want to hear a child, any child, even if I hear it on the news, any children in my family. If I hear that, like, I don't even like hearing kids say, "Oh, some such and so touched my butt." Like, y'all, it triggers me. Like,
Mhm.
because it's just like, that's a long time to deal with something, especially as a child. The thing that really crushed me when I was finally able to tell my grandma, because that's who raised me, and my
Mhm.
mom had came back in the picture. At this time, I had to be about 18. And I had told my mom, because like I said, she didn't raise me, but I told her because I was staying with her then. And she was like, you need to tell your grandma, whatever. Um, and that was the blow because I got the courage, called her on the phone. And that was just pretty much most girls get that typical response, you're lying.
Oh wow.
Um,
Wow.
you should have said something then if it happened. Like it was just like, what? So, that's something, as y'all can tell, I'm still dealing with. I don't think I'm ever going to get through that. Like I don't know. That's just one of them, those
Yeah.
ones that's going to take some time.
And I think that's a-okay. Like the fact that you're talking about it, number one, it's a
Yeah.
great thing because you're bringing awareness to it and you're not trying to hide it. For one, it's
Right.
it's nothing to hide. So I think that you're off to a great start. Even if you talk to your girls about it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, which I'm sure that you have, but it's better that you walk through it openly versus hiding it, and then fear creeps in, and then next thing you know, you're treating them as if it's happened to them when it hasn't even happened. So I
Right.
think the
Right.
fact that you talk about it and you're open about it, that's a great thing. you know I really think that that's great. um
Wow. That's a lot because it's so many layers to
yeah,
that, and
I've
you
heard
know,
that response before though.
and it's just I am glad that you feel comfortable enough to share that. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to be able to create platforms and environments
Right.
so that kids, people, it don't matter, strangers, somebody can talk to you about what's going on because the
Right.
biggest issue is we're dealing with traumas and we're just holding them in and they are killing us from the inside. We're
Right.
stressing, we have anxiety, we're self-medicating, whether it's alcohol, drugs,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and we're just slowly killing ourselves because we don't have anybody to talk to about this.
Right.
And yes, I'm not even gonna say, and I don't know about your experience, saying I can't even make, saying, compare anything I've been through to that. But as I feel like as you do talk about it, it's gonna hurt. But the more you're able to talk about it, and saying, there's no shame.
No.
What I'm saying?
Oh
No
no.
shame, no shame, no guilt, no. We have to, saying, take the power away from the person who
Right.
has done these things. And let me say this while we're talking about it. When somebody feels comfortable enough to open up to you, especially with something like that, like I know people like, oh, I just want you to share your whole heart with me. I can, what I'm saying, just tell me anything. When you say that, you better be able to handle it. I'm telling you
Right.
that right now because you may be the only person that person opens up to.
Right.
And I'm thankful for you, Ronnie, because of the response you got. That could have took you a whole nother way,
It took you a whole nother way.
but what I'm saying, you persevered through that. We have to be able. That's why it's so hard for people to open up now because we already feel like you can't handle our truths.
Right.
Prove me wrong,
It
please.
seems like to me, I'm wondering if she, because I know that generation. Okay, all right, all right.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
I'm
Don't do
just
it. Don't do
saying.
it. Don't do it.
I'm just saying that generation, a lot of that went on, and apparently it was okay. I'm gonna go there, dog on it. So even in my family, um, with like they don't talk about it, but I was like something ain't right, and I like my grandfather would have a lot of like friends over and stuff like that, and we lost one. Oh, she back. Hold on, y'all.
Okay.
So pretty much what I'm saying is back in a certain time frame, it was not uncommon for men to take advantage of younger women, little girls. And it would be family. People don't talk about it, but it's a thing because it was quote unquote okay when it's really and truly not. Molestation is molestation and rape is rape and wrong is wrong. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that in those from that time frame, when you go and you tell someone from that era about it, they're just like, it happens. Unfortunately, their response is like what your grandmother said, or either they're like, they'll make an excuse for it. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but let me try to, smooth it over when there is no smoothing it over. It's wrong.
Right.
It's just wrong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, no. I'm like, for one, that male you have a problem. You have a challenge. You know what I'm saying? When you're in a place where you putting your hands on an underage female, that is wrong. You have there's a challenge there, and that's exactly my point as well. Sometimes it did happen to them, and
Mm-hmm.
they were probably told the same thing, like, "Oh, say something sooner. It ain't really blah blah blah," and then it's just like the cycle continues. But nah,
I'll say this.
Right. And
I
that
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ronnie.
being on the opposite side of that cycle, like I feel like, because at some point you have to make a choice. You know
hmm
what I mean? And I could have turned around and harmed a child because it happened to me,
yeah,
you know? But to have that mindset of this is wrong, um, and you never would want a child to feel like how you felt
Right.
in those moments.
right.
That topic just stretches for me because I feel like, especially with that one definitely shapes you. And I feel like you said, some people do make that decision to
Keep it going.
repeat that cycle.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I just think talking about it, and I even think counseling, and I even think being that support for someone else. Like if you were to,
Right,
come across somebody who shares that story or those sentiments, like being support for them, because sometimes it's just not enough support out there,
right.
and just maybe you'll be able to help someone else to get through it.
Let
But
me
I
tag up.
do,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I do understand where you're coming from because, like, we have daughters. I mean,
Right.
that
Right.
we have a son too, and I'm telling you, I tell them all the time, nobody should be in your bubble. When I say
Exactly.
nobody, I mean nobody. When they go to school, I'm like, nobody should be in your bubble. And if they're there, ask them to move. And if they don't move, then move them out the way. Don't worry about nothing on the back end because we got you. Like, I
Yep.
just like how you feel about that is how I feel about a man putting his hands on a woman. Like,
Mhm.
it lost me because, for one, I've been in that situation. Um, One time, my mom, she was dating this dude, and it was late at night one night, and he came over, and he felt like he was gonna put his hands on her. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing that she has a daughter who,
Right.
I mean, I'm put together now. I mean,
Right.
so. But at that particular time, I was like, "Well, you ain't got no man in your life, so I guess it's gonna be me. So I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get, and I'm about to take your head off because you're not putting your hands on my mama like I don't play those games.
Right.
Like, don't you ever, And so I still have that even now when it comes to like our kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, don't like Janaya come home from school and she be like, well, so and so pushed me. If she say his name is Taquan, Jeff already know I'm on 1,000.
Right.
So what are they gonna do? You gonna do something about it? You just gonna sit here? I don't care that he is a little boy. He don't need to develop this habit. What are we gonna do about it,
Right.
girl? It just sent me into a whole mode. I done went there. I was like,
As you can see.
I'm like, y'all better get there. I'm sorry, not supporting this. So I see where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? And it just puts me in that.
Jail holds a special spot for me if it ever occurs. I'm letting
Well,
y'all know that.
we're praying that it doesn't.
Right.
Uh, so no, because I get it. Um, I think when you have kids and or just loved ones, period. I remember the dude was checking out Soraya. Soraya's what, 12,
Soraya is
11, 12,
11.
11. Thank you. And look at that. When that grown, I'm talking about a grown man was checking out. I'm like,
Oh, Jeff went to a place. I said, "Oh my
Oh
God,
God.
that
he
thing,
wasn't ready.
like,
That thing took
so
him to a place."
I get it because you don't. Here's the thing. As a parent, I'll speak for myself. As for me, I try my best to keep our kids. No, I'm not messing with Corey. Uh,
Listen,
I'm not messing with him. But I try my best to prevent them from trauma or traumatic situations.
I got
But
something.
at the same time, I'm dealing with the consequences of that, which is I have these spoiled suburban kids.
You
So
know what?
no,
I'm
they are they're spoiled.
no, I got something for that.
Go ahead.
And I'm not trying to take it too far left, but I'm gonna say this. So one day the Lord had to get me together
Oh,
because I had a habit of, much like you said, trying to prevent things, right? So if the kids experience like hurt, pain, or sadness or anything like that, I would get so frustrated because I was just like, I'm doing all that I can. And then one day that voice came and was just like, well, did I tell you that they weren't ever gonna go through anything painful? Did I tell you that, this, that, and the third? And I was like, dang. And then it really had to get me together because I was like, if they don't experience something, how are they going to learn how to manage it? Because you know how you have those adults who are like poor managers of their emotions and whatnot because they never were given the opportunity to process it. So now I'm like on a different page and I'd be like, okay, Janaya, case in point, you angry. Let's talk about it. What you feeling? You feel it's up here? Is it in there? Like what? Like let's just process it through because I don't want her to be 17 talking about some because she don't know how to deal with how she feel.
self control.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I can't always jump in and be that mama bear. I gotta back up sometimes. Parents, we gotta back up sometimes. I ain't say all the time though. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Sometimes we gotta let the baby cry, huh?
That's real. That's real. You do.
Tell that to your brother.
Cheese?
Oh,
Somebody said or unstable 40-year old. I mean, exactly.
it's a lot of.
Right.
Let me tell you something, because these shoot, some of these 50-year-olds up here still
Right.
up here in the club acting like they 21. Get out of
Looking
here with that
like
crap.
creeps. Get out of here.
That's where the Krugers came from. The Krugers came from all them old heads.
You up here 65. I'm living my best life. I'm like,
Right.
oh, all
You,
right.
you only got a little bit of life left. Shoot.
Wait a minute, sir.
I'm telling you.
What?
There ain't nothing worse than an old drunk coming up to you.
Oh
How
my
you
gosh.
doing?
But you know
Sir?
what? That used to happen to me all the time. When I was like 14 years old, I was always
Sorry, Lisa.
I was always I just matured fast. Exactly. They be like, hey Shay,
Right.
they
Yes.
would always come to me. I'm standing beside my mama. I'm 12 years old, and I got this like 40-year-old that's coming up to me talking about what's your name? Nigga, please. Like I'm about to cuss you out. And I don't want to do that because I don't do this in front of my mother. I know you see her beside me. She ain't my sister.
Right.
Like that thing would piss me off, but that's another topic for another time because I really, I had some skewed views when it came to the men folk.
Yeah.
Because I was
I
like,
can start.
don't even come for me because
Nope.
I'm not coming for you. Okay,
We're gonna
don't
stay on
approach
top of
me.
it. We're gonna
Okay, we
stay
on
on
the
top.
topic.
We're
Yeah,
staying
but
on
no,
top
but
it.
you know what? That kind of is a topic because, like, for me growing up, I did not like the fact that when it came to like guys, all they had was just complimenting me on how I look, how I shape, blah blah blah. That's all you had to say because you just trying to get inside my clothes. And I'm just like, it was like it got annoying over the years. And it got me to a point when somebody like my husband came along and he said something nice to me, and I'm looking back at him
I'm
like,
sorry.
oh, that. Hey,
Well, don't be out there trying to holler at the teenagers.
Look here. I'm doing it until July. Look here. I'm 39. I'll be 40 in July. So I'm gonna do all this over 40 talk right now.
that
Y'all
is
good. Stay
funny.
married and in your own business.
Right, right. I'm just saying though, but like, it's amazing to me how and even the same thing with some of the women, because the women is bold, honey.
Oh yes.
Women is bold. You hear me? I have to
See,
be.
and that's another thing. Like, I don't think the older women, uh, uh, like, I think it was a debate not too long ago, and it was talking about how is it okay? Well, why does society accept um older female with a
Uh-huh.
younger male, but
Yeah.
not an older male with a younger female?
Um, I think that comes from something from back in the day, because back in the day when they used to marry off the females at like 12 and 13 years old. I think that stigma kind of comes from there, because to me, whether you're a 45 old man or woman and you dating somebody that's 35, like regardless of what the gender is, it's all the same. Which to me, I feel like someone who's 35, if you're dating someone 45, it's okay. Because I mean, maybe
Uh,
that's it. Like, you got women out there who they are all for the old guy. Like, they be like, give me
Okay,
somebody in
so
their 60s. It ain't my
how do
thing.
you feel about like your 17, 18-year-old son talking to a 35-year-old woman?
So that's a no. Number one, if you're 17, you're not legal. And that's,
Right,
the law frowns upon that.
my
And,
thing is, even at 18, I'm saying no
even at
because it
18, you're not mature enough.
because
see, and
because
that's
Maturity.
my thing.
it's maturity. That's a manipulation thing.
Right.
Right,
You're trying to control somebody.
You know what I'm saying?
right,
Then, he knew in the game and whatnot. He knew in that thing. No,
right.
first of
Because as
all,
a mother, no, no, no,
when I say I'm
ma'am. What do you
stopping you at
want
the
with
door,
my child?
when I say I'm stopping you I will stop you at the
Right.
door. I be like,
Right,
You're not gonna
I
have
will
have
say
my
something. I
son
be like, girl, bye. You better not.
nose wide open. She done put that thing on him.
That's
He don't know what to do. Oh
her.
shoot. Nah.
No. I'm like, I'm like, I don't know. And then to me, that's kind of like, I don't know, that's like interesting. Cause I remember when I was 18, if you was in your 30s, I was like, bye bye.
But
My
why?
mama's in, my mama's in her, when I was 18, my mama was 36. So I'm like, please, like, stop. Go
Mm,
date her. She's single. Like,
right, right.
I just feel like it's a maturity thing.
it is a maturity thing for sure. It is a
Yeah,
maturity thing.
I think.
I got me a young thing, because Jeff is,
Come on, I
saying,
am.
"Ah," and
I got my little Cougar right there, huh?
I mean, but anyway, all right, y'all.
It's good to have fun.
God knows laughing is
Yeah,
good.
we had to lighten it. That was a good lightener
We
up there.
did it. We needed to lighten it up. We got a little
Laughing
I'm
heavy.
sorry,
is,
guys. I
No, you're
contemplated
good.
on that thing.
oh no, honey.
Oh,
Oh no,
Ain't no
no,
number, not over here.
nah.
Maybe,
We
maybe,
good.
you know.
Um,
Oh, that time has came, and it
that's
has. It
that's
has.
Ronnie. That's Ronnie's field.
oh no, a
We
new
we
I
saying,
think she left
four
the
and
field.
done.
I think she left the field. I think we just
Yeah,
gonna
that's
leave
it.
it. We just gonna leave it to the others. For all of those out
Yeah,
there, you know, who wants to have, for all those who desire children,
Yeah, I'm definitely in uncle mode.
you know,
Definitely
I
great
will be
uncle
a
mode.
auntie all all day. Love it. Come see me,
Exactly.
baby, and then I'm gonna give you back. Okay.
So we're gonna start wrapping it up, guys.
We want
We're
to
gonna
thank y'all for watching.
we
And
do.
while we got you, hit the like and the
Yes,
share.
yes.
If you're on YouTube, subscribe, huh? Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time that we go live. We are the Satchel POV. And if you would like to sew into the Satchel POV, see that Cash App at the bottom of the screen.
Why do you sound like a prophet like that? Like
Okay.
you talk about
I
so,
mean, I am who I
so
am, but that's neither here nor there.
you can sow, you can give,
You
you
can
can
sew, you
get
can
what?
give, you can donate, however you want, whatever words you want to use. But for real, though, if you want
Yes.
to give to the Satchel POV, it only helps us to be better. Helps us to get better equipment so that we can give you a good presentation. Because we got goals, and we're
It's
gonna
each,
get there.
oh yeah, each episode's
Yes,
getting
we
better.
are.
We do want to. I just lost my train of thought.
And I also want to give a shout out to Lizzie King. If you
Woo,
Yeah.
always
going
see,
into that
I
40.
always have on my eyeglass chain, and it is Lizzie King eyeglass chains and accessories. You can find her on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as TikTok. All right.
All right. So
All
as
right.
we're wrapping up, we're gonna have our final words on the topic. We're gonna really since Sheila's in the talking mode, I'm gonna let Sheila start us off with her final words.
You go,
Then
girl.
then Ronnie, and then I will go ahead and
It's
close us
final
out.
word time.
Yes, it's time to wrap it up.
Um, yes, I really love this one. It's called, it's called Christian, but I think it's got another name for it. But my final words are, well, I ain't gonna say my final words because I want to see tomorrow and have words again. The word that I'm
Yes.
going
You
to
are
leave
real
y'all
preachy
with.
today, Doc.
What?
You better let her do it.
I'm sorry. No, but for real though, y'all, the thing of the matter is this: trauma happens, triggers happen. Sometimes you just get set off. Man. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, those buttons get pushed. But if you can, don't instantly react, because usually that's the wrong thing, and it's probably more than likely not what you really want to do, especially if it's involving your loved ones or whatnot. Don't instantly react. Take a minute, go within, ask yourself what's really going on right now, then go back to, what's in the cup? Huh, just a little tea. Anyway, go within.
Just a little
Okay.
taste. Is that what you said? A taste of what?
No, but for real though, go within, ask yourself what's going on, and then go back to the other party and say, hey, this is what's happening right now. Like, what I'm saying? You just said these words to me, and it reminded me of a time in my life when someone was verbally abusive to me. Can we please, when it comes to me, can you not use these words, or can we talk in calm tones? You know what I'm saying? Because listen, when you holler,
Mm-hmm.
it sets me off. Just try it. And then, instead of being all emotional and be like, you don't know me like that. Who you talking to? That ain't really gonna get you so far. It may feel good in the moment. I'm not even gonna lie. It may feel good in the moment, but
Right.
it could have a lasting effect that you don't want. I'm done. My name is Sheila. Pep Talk is what it is. All right, head on over, hit that like button. Love y'all. All right.
Oh, geez. All right. How do you follow that?
I don't know. She need to put that cup down. I tell you that. I don't know what's
It
in that
is tea.
cup.
It's
I
tea.
need to add. I need to add some happy to my cup.
Tea.
All right. So final words for me. Whew. Just when it comes to triggers, trauma, um, just to piggyback off of Sheila a little bit, you have to identify it and you have to deal with it. A lot of people identify they have traumas, but they don't deal with those traumas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and then eventually that's going to become an issue because if you're always going to be triggered by something, but if you don't ever deal with it, you don't know how to control, because those triggers are going to happen regardless. Anything can trigger you, but like you said, if you're aware of what is triggering you and why it's triggering you,
Yeah.
then you'll be able to react in a different way. Um, and then, like you said, just being able to open up and talk to your partner
Yeah.
about those things. And as a partner, being able to receive without being judgmental. Because some people's trauma is ugly.
Yeah. True that.
And if you can't deal with the things that your partner is telling you, then you need to be truthful about that as well. Um, because some people can't handle hearing some of the things you've been through. And some people don't know how to handle some things that you've been through.
But you know what? That's what make people hide. But I ain't even gonna restart this conversation because I almost went into addiction. And I was like, a lot of
Yeah,
people got some private addictions out there, and it's because they can't share it with you because you sitting there judging people. Don't be judging,
exactly.
be open.
And
They,
we know this culture is real judgy.
I mean, you got people pretending to be something that they not because they think it's not acceptable.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Mm. I
Now
don't
you
think I,
your second
I wish
closing.
we had more time because woo, that needs to be
I
unpacked.
mean,
Go
listen.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Y'all,
No,
it's
we just
on y'all. It's on you. I was trying to wrap it up for the people,
we're
but
rapping. We're
We're
rapping.
no. Y'all,
rapping.
it's on
We
y'all.
rapping because I gotta go put the kids. I gotta go save my kids.
Y'all got y'all preach on right now, and y'all got y'all second win.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is a lot of times I'm thankful that, like with Jeff, I can be like, I mean, I've shared some ugly things with Jeff about myself. And
Right.
I'm thankful that he don't come back at me and be like, you this, you that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
Right.
I'm not coming to you for you to tell me what I am. I'm coming to you for help, for support. I'm in a safe place. That's why I always be like,
Mm-hmm.
coming to me and you be like, girl, yeah, because unfortunately, I killed Johnny. I'd be like, well, stuff happens. You know,
Right.
I'm not gonna, because I don't know the situation. Maybe Johnny put you in a situation and you felt like you had to, cut him down. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm just gonna be like, sometimes you just gotta be that listening ear. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But we always want to be a talking mouth instead of
We're
being.
always trying to solve somebody else's problems. Sometimes they don't want their problem solved. They just want an ear.
Now I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna put a pin in that because I'll give you my ear once, twice max if it's concerning the same thing. Now on that third go round, if I give you my ear, notice some words is coming behind it because we need to push forward at this point. Because what we not gonna do is sit there and be like, girl, in 95 he left me. And I'm like, listen, now how many times we gonna rehearse this now? Okay. Because now while you sitting over there in 95, you got John over there in the 2000s and he waiting on you, but you can't get out of 95. Now what we gonna do to get over there so you can be with John? I, I'm just saying. Don't laugh at me. I'm just saying. Okay.
Oh
I think
God.
we're gonna switch it over to our host,
Oh
Jeff.
no.
My
Y'all
boo.
got it. Y'all on a roll right
We'll have
now.
girl chat another time, you guys. All right. We're gonna have to leave the host off one day and just have girl chat. All right.
Y'all can do that.
We'll
Y'all
do a
can do
girl
that.
chat version. All right, Coretta, go ahead. Take us out, babe. Take us out. Uh-huh. That part.
You got it, say you got it. We good.
You sure? No, y'all good. No,
No, I mean,
Yeah.
'cause this is what we do. Come
I close and close.
so I don't know, girl chat. I don't know. Maybe might get we might have the presence of Miss Ryan on one of
on.
those
Ooh,
episodes.
honey. Ooh. I'm a
Be nice. It's an invitation. It's an invitation. We'll talk
come
later.
on and
Yes.
sit on the stage.
Huh?
Come on, come on.
But
That's
it has been a conversation tonight. Triggers, drama, trauma. Um, I think y'all pretty much said a lot of it. The biggest thing is uh, just because you know your triggers doesn't give you a license to act a fool.
hmm
We have to stop that.
right.
Oh, they always act like that when somebody.
That don't
Okay,
make it okay.
it doesn't make it okay.
Right.
Right.
We we have to mature as a people. Uh, Learn our triggers and let's heal from trauma. Talk to who you need to talk to. I'm all for professional help because sometimes you're like Ronnie said. Sometimes your significant other can't handle it,
Right.
and that should be okay if they can't handle it. If they can admit, hey, I can't handle your truth,
Right.
then,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to get you a professional.
And
But
that's
you we
okay.
we have to talk about these things. We have to heal, and it takes time.
For sure.
It definitely takes time. So uh, my words or final words on this subject would be definitely explore, learn yourself, learn from your past. Let's get better. Let's heal our
Yes.
wounds.
Yes.
Let's actually be a real community of
Right.
people. I know a lot of people are saying that now, but like let's really be a community. Let's really pull on one another. I'm not saying everybody can do that, but let's really pull on one another and help where you can help at. I know you can't help in every area, but wherever you can help at, let's help one another so that we can all get better together.
Right.
With that, I'd like to thank y'all for watching this episode.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
Thank
guys
you.
for watching. Shout out
And
to Miss Lisa. She's always on. So good to have you again. Appreciate you for watching.
yes, and this has
Shout out
been
to our family on YouTube. Thank y'all for watching.
yes,
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
Thank you for letting us share our point of view with you. Y'all have a great night.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good night.